that, and it starts to make sense and click for me that the bees collect the pollens, that if you ingest that and you have honey in your system, that would build up the tolerance in your system. As you may know, spring is in season, and with spring comes allergies. I've somehow developed seasonal allergies over the past years, and I've figured out ways to manage the symptoms of my allergies. And I want to take this time to kind of share with you of some of the natural ways that I've kind of used to manage my allergies. As you may be aware of, that I'm not a fan of depending on medications to manage my allergies. There's a time and a place for that if I need to, but overall, I kind of use a more of a holistic approach to manage my allergies. In particular, this year, I've done a better job of using all the resources that I now know and how my body reacts during this time of the year. So I wanted to share with you some of the things that I've done that's helped me to manage my allergies during this time of the year. First and foremost, in terms of the setup, we'll kind of talk about the morning, night setup, what that looks like, and then what I do during the afternoon. First thing in the morning, what I've done, and this is actually something that one of my friends recommended and that my mom had reinforced the other day, and I've gotten in the routine of every morning. Actually, I've been having more of a tablespoon of just raw local honey, and I've noticed a notable difference in my response to allergy. And it starts to make sense and click for me that the bees collect the pollens, that if you ingest that and you have honey in your system, that would build up the tolerance in your system. So every morning for the past couple, I would say 2 or 3 weeks, I'll have a tablespoon of honey with some hot water to kind of dilute that. Then I've always started my morning with a cup of hot water with some ginger powder, so that'll warm up my stomach and warm up my system, because your body does not like to be cold when you have allergies. Secondly, I have some vitamin C either in chewable forms or I'll have an orange throughout the day. I make sure that I dress warm. This is probably something I didn't take it seriously, and that my mom does. If I notice a significant difference in how my body responds, that dressing warm, keeping your body warm, is crucial to prevent any sort of sneeze attack that might come on. Because the moment your body gets cold, boom, I noticed that I started sneezing just nonstop, and that flares up my system. If you need to wear a mask in the morning, because it's usually worse in the morning, you can do that, but you don't breathe in any pollens first thing in the morning, especially when you're going to your car. I've made the habit of wiping down the handles of my car when I get in and kind of sanitize my hands when I do it, and that I try not to touch my hand. I try not to touch my face anytime I've got in contact with pollen. But those are kind of the initial things I do in the morning, and that I don't roll down my window. Yes, it's probably, and I'll say it again, when I'm driving local, I do not roll down my window during this season, because I know that pollen is in the air. And that the moment I roll down my window, 1, it's cold, that I'm going to start sneezing. 2, pollen is going to start coming into my car, and it's going to start to irritate my nose. And that's when I'll start to sneeze. And that's when my eye starts to get itchy. So I don't roll out my window. I dress warm. And by the time I get to the clinic, I'm dressed pretty warm. I don't do anything specific throughout the day, so to speak, aside from having a vitamin C pill or have some orange juice, whichever kind of works for you to kind of get those vitamin C's in your system so that your body can fight those. A couple of things I do at night that I've kind of made a habit of, that I've noticed a difference in terms of how my allergies responses at night. breathing, having my nose congested at night is probably the most difficult thing that I kind of have a hard time, sleeping. Your nose is congested. That's hard to breathe through the night. And I'm a nose breather. And if I have to breathe through my mouth, my tongue, my mouth, my lips gets dry. And I feel like I'm suffocating. So I can't really kind of breathe through my mouth for an extended period of time. So a couple things I've done at night is when I get home, I don't put my outside clothes in my room. Because especially if you've been out and about, you kind of catch, or if you're outside, that you catch the pollens in your clothes. So if you put it and hang it and throw it in your at the laundry basket in your room, that pollen, if you stir it up, it'll kind of get into your room and into the air that you breathe in. So that I've started doing. I've stopped putting my clothes in my bedroom. Secondly, I've turned on my air filter during this time of the year, as a matter of fact, all the time. And then what I'll also do is I have a diffuser that I use to decongest my nose. And I use essential oil, specifically doTERRA, because I know their essential oil is legit and not adulterated. And the mixture that I use to diffuse, to decongest my nose, consists of 3 essential oils: lavender, peppermint, and lemon. Those are the 3 essential oils I put in my diffuser. And I usually put about 2 to 3 drops of essential oils in my diffuser, and I'll let it diffuse throughout the night, and it'll instantly clear up and decongest my nose. There are times where I will use one of those nasal strips that I got from Costco that will instantly alleviate and decongest your nose. So sometimes I'll put that on if I don't want to use the diffuser. I noticed that my body gets dehydrated quite a bit during this time of the year. So I try to drink as much as I can, but not overly abundant at the same time. I notice that during the night, I'm sort of dehydrated, but I'm like, this is not common. This is something that I don't drink a lot of water at night. That way, I don't have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night. But because I'm a little bit dehydrated during this time of the year, that I tend to drink a little bit more water toward my bedtime. So what I have done to not have to go to the bathroom at night is I will turn on my humidifier. And my humidifier will kind of bring some of the moisture that I'm lacking in my nose so that I'm able to breathe a little bit easier and not feel dehydrated and dry in the middle of the night where I have to kind of get up, drink some water. Because I know that if my nose is dried, I'm not breathing the way I want to, and I'm not sleeping. And then most importantly, quality sleep and rest. If you're not sleeping through the night, it's hard to feel better. And I'm like a zombie the next day if I don't sleep. My eye's a little bit itchy, but I'm not as bad as it used to, where I have to kind of rub my eye. It's a little bit dried. Another thing that I would recommend that I used to use, but I haven't used very often this time of the year, is probably eye drops. Eye drops, if you've got dry, itchy eye drop is good for you. And one of the things I do with eye drop is I'll put it in the fridge so that when I take it out and I put it in my eye, it's nice and cold and it cools down my eyes. And those are the things that I've done to help manage my allergies during this time of the year. I've noticed it's more of cumulative. It's more of a cumulative in all the little things that you do that adds up to managing my allergies a little bit better. So far, I know honey has done quite a bit for me, and I'm going to continue to eat honey on a regular basis to get one, to boost my immune system, and then two, expose my body to the pollen that's been collected by the bees in the honey. And that's a good way to build that exposure of pollen in my system, so that over time, I'm no longer as sensitive to these pollens during this time of the year as I normally would be. So there you have it. That's how I kind of manage my allergies for this season.